Governor Pataki, when you're president or in a Pataki administration, what would you do for people with disabilities in America?
Well, I think first of all, it's important to make sure we uphold the law that requires access that President George H.W. Bush signed. I think it is a very positive law and is impacting those who are disabled in a very positive way. We have to enforce it. But beyond that, it's not just a question of mobility, it's a question of why you are going somewhere. And to have more economic opportunities for people who are handicapped, people who have disabilities, people who cannot walk is absolutely critical. And I think of a friend of mine from the legislature in New York State who lost both his legs in Vietnam and yet courageously still carries on today as a productive, hard-working citizen now outside of government. And I just know that there is so much talent there, and we have to have an outreach program to make sure that potential employers, potential careers are open to people regardless of their disability.
That's very helpful, Governor. What do you think specifically could help people with disabilities who might be deaf or might be blind? Have you looked at assisted technologies?
There is assisted technology now for the deaf that is used with phones, so that they have the capability to communicate over a phone using a texting system. And we're very fortunate to live in the 21st century where we have these potentials to develop these technologies. And it's not just going to happen because of organizations that are committed to helping the disadvantaged. It's going to require the support of the government. And certainly if I have the opportunity to lead, we're going to reach out, bring in advocates for those with disabilities and look at those technologies that can empower them in ways we probably even haven't thought of yet.
When you were governor, you must have had many interactions with the disability community. What can you tell me and other viewers about some of the successes that you had?
You know, I think it was just the most important thing, given New York being New York, was access to mass transit. And we had a great many disabled who simply could not get on a bus, could not get on the subway or train. And we took a number of initiatives, some required by the federal law, but some just imposed by the state on itself to make things easier. And I'll just give you one example. You know, I live up in the Hudson Valley, and I often take the train to New York City, and you'd have to go up and down steps. We elevated the platforms so that now you can go on at the same level, put in elevators so that they are now accessible. And so that matters, that we have to do that. But then beyond that, we want to make sure that there are opportunities, career opportunities, business opportunities for those disadvantaged. And I'm confident that with all the technology out there in the 21st century, we will be able to find myriad ways to get this done. And just one other example of something I did is I became friends with Christopher Reeve, who had played Superman and was in a horse riding accident and a quadriplegic. And I worked with him and advocates for the disabled to help overcome those disabilities through technology, not just things like mechanical devices that are capable of moving, artificial intelligence to create movement where there hadn't existed, stem cell research to help regenerate nerves that had been damaged. And this is all things that in the 21st century we should be looking at with an open mind, because the potentials aren't limited by the status quo of where we are today. The potential is where we can be tomorrow, and that's how government has to think.